Hey crafty babes, it's Andrea. Welcome to a look inside on my December daily album for 2018. In case you are not aware, I did December daily a little bit differently this year. In a previous year, I think it was 2013, I did an alpha style December daily, which means that I did not document a story each day necessarily. I made a list of all of the things I wanted to document through the month of December, put them in an alpha category, and then documented them that way with going A to Z in my book. And it was really fun. And I feel like this year I needed to do something a little different just for my own sanity, for my own knowing that I wasn't taking a lot of pictures of the boys. They're getting older. They don't do as many activities, and we don't do like everything throughout the month is not Christmassy or holiday related. So I just figured this was probably the year that I could go back to doing the alpha style, and I'm so glad I did. Right now I'm going to try to show you as much as I can. I am only up to the letter R, so I will try to show you as much as I can in this video. It might have to be 2 videos up into letter R and then a third video to finish it out, but we will see how far we can get. All right, so the first thing that I did was I made this graphic, and it just gave me a visual to look at and to reference while I was taking pictures throughout the month, and also while I was documenting, because I didn't always remember the items that I chose. But I also used this album. One second. I also used this notebook. This is actually a notebook from Persnickety Prints. If you watched any of my other videos, I'm pretty sure I talked about this, but this is, maybe it was in my stories. Anyway, this is a custom journal from Persnickety Prints, and I was going to originally put my December daily in here. When I realized it was a little bit too snug, I decided to go back to 6x8 and use this for keeping track of the letters. So in each of the previous pages, I had a little sticky with the letter and then the items that I was going to document, and then I would check them off as I took the photo and had it printed, and then I'm storing them in here. So dog hair, always dog hair. I'm actually working on S, and so that's why these photos aren't in here, but this is how I stored the photos. So then I knew when I had photos printed that I could just chop them up and put them in here and know that that's where they belonged, and then I could check them off when they were done. So then here's T, and then I've got all the rest of the month with every letter. So that's how I was keeping track. I started off with just this as the main cover, kind of got my creative juices flowing for the Christmas season, and I made this with I just made it on the computer. And then after a while of working on it, I had this idea of doing a transparency piece with the whole alphabet and an ampersand and an exclamation point on a transparency. So I made this as well, and I will actually be giving this away as a freebie. So check the link in the description, and I will have this as an image, and you can print it on your own transparency paper, which I will also leave a link to on Amazon. And those are affiliate links, so if you purchase through those links, they don't cost you anything, but it just helps support the channel. So that was really fun, and it was a nice addition to just add to the front. And then the intentions page, or what I wanted out of the season, and just a little pocket. I didn't put anything here, but I was thinking about maybe using one of the pictures we took as a family and putting it in black and white, making it small and throwing it on there. Just a little opening page. And then most of the time you're going to see some kind of like a letter intro page or something that denotes, hey, we're moving on to the next letter. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. I did try to do that as much as possible, and I like to do them in different sizes, and just kind of depends on the flow of the album. So you'll see that they'll end up in different ways. But here I used a traveler's notebook size paper from, I believe that this is from this is from Little Lamb Co. I'm going to try to remember the places that I got these things from, but I basically used like 5 or 6 different manufacturers, products, designers. So I'll link them all so that you guys can just find them if you haven't started your December daily album, or if you're still buying things. That's always good too. So anyway, just made a little cluster there. Advent heart, I need to fill this in with just kind of how I felt about the season. I wanted it to be kind of a wrap up. A Merry Little Christmas, I was trying to find some things that started with A that weren't specific, but I wanted to kind of start the album out with a little bit of my initial photos that I took of getting the tree up and starting to drink warm drinks in my cute little buffalo plaid mug. At home was one of the things I wanted to document, so I took pictures around the house. I really love these little houses that I got new from Michaels this year as a main decoration in the house. I wanted to make sure I got those. Excuse me. And I was having fun with some letters and kind of being inspired by Abigail Clone. If you don't follow her, she's an adorable teenage Bible journaler, and she does these really cute markers, monthly markers with all kinds of different fonts, and she's just absolutely adorable. So shout out to Abigail. More at home stuff. So I just, again, took more pictures of being at home, used pocket pages, also full page photos, make a lot of appearances in this album. And then I attached a little tab from Ellie Studio that says around here, because it's still A, more at home. And then I actually have an around town, and I forgot that I had this section, but I do have a picture of one of our main streets that has a cute Christmas feel. So I'm going to throw that in there. AM was also something I wanted to make sure I documented, because the mornings are really special for me, and I get to see the sun come up through the back slider, and that's just something I wanted to make sure I got in here. B is for baking, bells, boxes, and blankets. So technically the blankets part did not really make it into this section, but there are several pictures for other letters that include my very favorite blanket this winter. So having fun with these little title pages. Bags and boxes, I tied this little vintage tag to a tag that I made using stamps from Carrie Bradford, and then a little Felicity Jane girl from last year, and just like kept the red and black theme here. And then on this side there's Jingle Bell Time is a Swell Time. This is a card from my holiday magazine. And then I also, we're missing, didn't put these in here. Look how unfinished things are. Yeah, I did not finish this page. So we're just gonna throw these in here for now so they don't fall all over the place, and then I will make myself a note that I need to finish that. So B is also for birthday, which I didn't indicate on the front page, but that's what's so cool about this project, is that sometimes when I'm finding photos throughout the month, I'm like, oh, this actually probably belongs in this letter, and then I'll make room for it. And I have a December birthday, so I had a little photo and had a really fun time making this page. Did a little squigglies with this gorgeous red pen that I've now lost. I have no idea. I've been looking high and low for this dang pen. And it's completely gone. Anyway, had fun just documenting how the day went. And then baking cookies is still under B. And then what I will end up doing is either filling this in with another photo, full page photo, or I will probably use one of my 6x8 filler pages from like In a Creative Bubble or Ellie Studio, just to kind of have a nice color filler page. Probably something that goes with this, because then I used this Christmas 4x6 from a Felicity Jane kit like 3 years ago, and then used my label maker to just make a little extra word on a washi there. Chilly, so it was getting pretty cold and starting to get rainy, and it's actually like colder now, but this was the weather at the time. Good cheer, I used this background paper. I believe this is an In a Creative Bubble, and then some a card with a little honey here who just was perfect with her little dress and her holly. C is also for coziest, cozy, Charlie. So I just kind of combine everything all in one. A big picture of her and just used some letters and a Felicity Jane heart and star. And then just adhered this with a little paper clip and some glue. Comfort and joy was another C word, and I made this cute little grid on a tag here with just some cookies that I made. And cousins also, so the boys and their cousin on Christmas Eve. This was just a really easy thing to throw onto the back of this tag with a little Instax photo. Candy canes. Marshall absolutely was obsessed with candy canes this year, and so I just made it very simple and used some LE Studio Alpha stickers here, and then I used this lined stamp. It's just a dash stamp. I forget who, it might be Carrie Bradford. I forget. The other side I will fill in with paper once I've completed things and need to fill stuff in. So this is currently, and I just used this card from LE Studio. This is a whole LE Studio thing. Used the stars and a little cluster and popped them off the Merry and Bright card. More LE Studio. Really had a fun time using their Document December kit. This, I want to say it was actually from last year, but I could be wrong because they did have a December card like this that was gray last year, but I couldn't remember which font was which year. Anyway, I did a little stitching down here, and this is D for December. So this is when we were kind of making our transition into the letter D. And then we've got a picture of some boxes being delivered. And so I did like this little special delivery tag and a little delivered thing, Joy delivered from Amazon. More December. This is actually a Gossamer Blue card from, I think it was 2015. And I never used it, but I thought it went really well with this photo, and I could just pair this card with the teal on it, or it's kind of like a mint, with this Felicity Jane mint chipboard alphas. So that was just another kind of little currently thing, but I used it as like just December in general. This December 6x8 is from Feed Your Craft, and it is designed by In a Creative Bubble. And then on the other side is this really cute picture of Charlie and Gibson on the stairs. And I just did this little cluster of stuff from LE Studio with like a label and a little word strip and some of the letters. This is a calendar from, what's her, A Stitch in Time. And she does Christmas calendars for December every year, and she does several different versions. And this year I picked the North Pole little map one. And since And I actually downloaded it before I realized that I was going to do an alpha style. So I decided to just use it as like a, what am I calling these? Like a section starter, because E is going to be for every day. So I used the Tim Holtz little sticker, alpha stickers, and did everyday stuff, and then used my label maker here for everyday. And this is the section where I'm kind of putting things that fall into just like everyday stuff that doesn't have a letter associated with it. And so therefore it's not completely finished, but like I've got elf here because it is E. And then I will finish this out with anything else that's left over, as well as here I plan on putting some family photos. So we did a Christmas Eve celebration with my husband's family, and so some of those photos will end up going in family, and some of them will end up going in X for Christmas Eve. So we'll figure that out when I get there. I didn't make an intro page for the letter F, but I just, sometimes it just didn't work out. And so I'm pretty sure it's obvious that fireplace starts with F. So we're now in the F. I took this picture one morning and I stamped by the fire here, which is a stamp from Citrus Twist Kits. I used some Felicity Jane letters. And actually I have the red labels for my Dymo label maker and wanted to throw a lot of red in this album, so used it wherever I could and then did some journaling here. And this is an A5 planner page from Felicity Jane. Here I did a really fun little technique and used, this is an older frame from a few years ago, Felicity Jane kit. And I've just had it, I didn't use it last year for whatever reason, so it stayed in my stash. And then this Fa La La card is actually I think it was a 3x4 digital from In a Creative Bubble. So I made it a 6x8 or an A5 size. I forget what actual size this is. I think it is an A5 because it's pretty similar to this size. And then I just glued it to the back of it, so it's kind of like this little window after I printed it on transparency paper. So it was really cute and really fun to do, and the colors came out super vibrant. So that's really a fun thing about the transparency. And then it just, it adds a little something. Moving on to G is for gift, and for my birthday I got an Apple Watch, and then we actually gave Gibson his Apple Watch as an early Christmas gift. Granola is a tradition that I make a bunch of granola, I throw them in mason jars and hand them out to everybody at Christmas Eve. And I love making it. And I thought that it would be fun to just use this holiday tradition. At this point, I'm trying to still use things that are not specific to the letter, because that just doesn't always happen with the supplies. And so as long as I, am putting the item in the letter that it belongs in, then I feel like I have permission to use a card that has a T on it. I'm not being so literal that I'm not using the supplies that I have. I really wanted to make sure that I used them up since several of them are left over from last year and the year before. Here's a little tag that I made, just holly and jolly, so I'm kind of making that transition from G to H. And then home for the holidays, a little tag here. This is a circle that's cut out from an In a Creative Bubble 3x8 card. And then ham, we get a honey baked ham, and Matt always goes and stands in line and he tries to take pictures for me. And since he took a picture of his face in front of the store, I needed to use it because he never ends up in these albums. And then I have the receipt here. And then we have home. Home is going to make an appearance in this section a lot because being home for Christmas is like the best thing ever. And I used this, this is from LME Creative, and she is a wonderful, beautiful hand letterer. And so I just screenshot this from Instagram and then used the colors that she used as kind of like my inspiration. And this is from Little Lamb Co. as well, and then some Felicity Jane stuff. And then I used a little circle here from a Reset Girl collection. I think it was last year's Christmas collection, along with some Felicity Jane puffy alphas. And on this side it's hot chocolate, and so I really loved having like more of a muted color scheme. So I had a pink background, and then I just used some black and white because it went really well with the muted photo. Let's stay home. Just nobody wants to go anywhere. and I had this extra page, and it went really well with this photo of my doorstep. And I liked using different fonts and different alphas, and just trying to play with the supplies that I have and get them used so that they don't just sit around. And then I'm not stuck in a rut either, because I'll easily just gravitate toward the same things page after page, just so that I don't have to think too much about it, especially with the project this big. Sometimes your decision-making skills start to dwindle. This is something that I have not filled out because it was kind of a last minute change. There was another, actually there still is another card underneath here, but I switched it out recently because I wanted this to still be H. And so I'll go ahead and fill this in with all these little things. On the other side is Instagram for I. I posted about this on Instagram as an idea for you to screenshot your own hashtag. So I'm pretty sure most of us are using our own hashtag so we can keep track of the photos that we take during the month. So I just took a screenshot and then made it as tall as I could for the ratio that the screenshot was. And then I used a little, the Avery self-adhesive tab dividers. I'll link those as well. I use those frequently in my projects, not just December Daily. And then I used my Dymo label maker for the Instagram. It's the only thing in I. So the next letter is J. And this was such a fun page. I miss doing these small little pockets. And so it was really, really fun to do this. Now this is for the letter J because it's for 12 December joys. So I picked 12 things that bring me joy during December. And so I used a bunch of things like Deck the Halls and Cold Days, this about keeping your eyes on Jesus for the month, and then being together in winter and dressing up, even though I don't do that, but she's adorable. Plaid and ornaments, treats and music, and Christmas movies and pajamas. So I just picked a bunch of things so that I could have some freedom to use things that were not all the letter J, but combining it all into, you know, something that is about joy. More things about joy are just, I kind of listed out a bunch of things that I'm really enjoying every day. And then cut out these cute little bowls from a Mandy Ford collection in the print and pray shop at illustratedfaith.com. I just like the colors, and I hadn't used anything from her set yet, and really wanted to use those. And then K is for kitchen. I have this picture of just a little spot in my kitchen when it was really nice and clean, and I had just kind of changed out some decor. But having a clean kitchen really brings me joy. So K and J in the same in the same page. I have this page about kisses from Grandma, and it's just a little story. I don't have a picture of this, but I could actually, I actually still have some of the Hershey Kisses in a mason jar, and I could take a quick picture and put an Instax picture here. That would actually probably be a good idea. I'll do that. But it's just a little story about how each boy got a box from Grandma and Grandpa for Christmas. It was filled with Hershey Kisses, and a $100 bill was buried in the bottom, and neither of them realized it until she had to tell them there was money in there. Just a filler page. I'll probably end up putting another piece of paper on this side that matches this. And then I need to do my holiday listing. So this is a prompt from the holiday issue of Retro Hit magazine. This is going to be now L. So we're on L. So I took a little picture of Gibson and I and used the word strip "Love This" and put it on the back of this library card pocket, which has Marshall's Christmas list in it, which is money and money, more money. Okay, I want for Christmas is $1 million and $1 million. So funny little guy. L is still for looking at Christmas lights, and I made this little tab to pop up so that there could be some journaling down here. And it's on a glassine bag, and on the other side it just is stamped love, and then around here in this cute little to and from with some hearts. Light of My Life is just from one of the Advent sets from Illustrated Faith, and I used it with the tree lights. Merry Little Christmas, just some journaling about what Christmas looks like around our house. M is for music and movies. Actually, M is where this is the M that starts the letter music and movies. These letters and puffy stickers are actually all on the outside pockets, and on the inside it's all the Christmas albums that I had on repeat this year. And so what I do is I go into Spotify and I screenshot the album, and then I just crop them down and print them 2x2. And then I did just one layout about some of the movies that we watched, and some of them I had screenshots for, and then I listed out the other ones that we watched. And I had to make this one big because I just love A Charlie Brown Christmas. And then I'm actually printing all of my photos on a matte photo paper, so it's very dry, and that makes it so easy to write on. It's not slick at all. It's like cardstock, but the color is still really vibrant. So I'm really loving that, and I have that linked in my favorite things as well. This little tag that I made using some LE Studio stuff and Felicity Jane word strips. This is a screenshot that I had from Live Artfully, Jennifer LeBlanc. She is a contributor to my magazine, and she makes these really beautiful quotes, things that are on her heart and things that are about the season and things that she wants to share. And I have this saved from the beginning of the month and thought that it would go great in M for morning. N is for nativity. This is a little nativity scene that we have at home. And then O is for outside. So we took a walk outside and the sky was just absolutely beautiful. And Matt texted me this meme with Dave Grohl, and it's him behind a snowy window, and it says, "I really can't stay. Baby Dave Grohl's outside." And it's just funny because we're big Foo Fighter fans. So I just said haha because I had no more L's because I was going to do LOL. And then just the story of Matt texting me that. P is for plaid, and I'm mad for plaid. I did this as an LE Studio project, and it was really fun. I just loved using the red and black and white and not having any other colors in it. And I liked just layering a couple of doilies and doing like this kind of like cluster collage kind of thing, which I've been into lately. Merry Everything, we're still in the P's, but it's for party. So this is our Christmas party and then my work peeps. P is also for peppermint, and I just reused this photo in a smaller version to talk about how Marshall's been obsessed with candy canes, and then just used a little cluster down here at the bottom with some washi and a little ticket and some mismatched alphas. And then P is still for like peeking, no peeking presents, and this is just a little story about how I bought myself an iron and wrapped it and put it under the tree. From me to me. Q I usually do for quiet, and I try to find or take a photo of something that feels quiet to me. And Gibson and I went to Starbucks real early on Christmas morning just to get a little treat. And the streets were just so quiet, and it was beautiful and foggy. And this is one of my favorite streets coming back to our house, so I needed to document that, and I liked having it in a big format. R is for Rudolph, and it's a picture of Marshall and I watching Rudolph, and then a little story underneath about how he wasn't too excited about watching it because he's like, I've watched it 9 times now, because he's 11, but he probably doesn't remember watching it when he was 1 or 2. But so he asked if he could like make fun of it like Mystery Science Theater 3000, and so we had fun kind of like memeing Rudolph as we watched it. S is for school program, so that's the all I've gotten so far through the letter S. And then yeah, R only had 1. I actually had no reading, no reindeer, no relaxing, so Rudolph was it. So his school program, they did a Grinch like performance, and this is just a story about how Marshall tried out for the Grinch part and he didn't make it, but one of his very best friends, Jovi, she got the part instead. And he had told me when he came home that night, he said, I have some good news and I have some better news. And he said, I have some really good news and some not so good news. I said, well, what's the not so good news? He said, I didn't get the part of the Grinch. And I said, well, what's the really good news? And he said, Jovi got it. So the fact that he thought that Jovi getting it was better news than him not getting it, which just made me really happy that he was so happy for her, and she did such a good job, and she was so cute. And so I just put that all on this little half ledger paper that I've had from a vintage kit. And then I stamped the certified real life from LE Studio there, just to kind of like make it feel like, cause see this little stamp here, it's like, it was already on the paper, but it just felt like that was the right thing to do there. Made it nice and easy. So that, my friends, is what I have got so far for my December Daily Alpha Style album. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Let me know if you have questions, and we will join back up when I have the rest of it done. And I'm glad that we could get through this together. I hope that you're working on yours and that you've been inspired and that you don't quit and you keep going and you get it finished with all the love that I know that you're going to put into it. So we will talk really soon. Bye.